Pearl Harbor, there was big news in Jamestown, New York. In the same banner headlines was the announcement of the dedication of the stadium as the Falcons opened their season, together with the fact that the RAF Blitz rocks Germany. Such were the times of 1941. This was the beginning of the Jamestown Municipal Stadium and the creation of an awful lot of memories for the residents of Jamestown. One such resident was Tom Weakley, whose father started the concession firm Weakley and Olson, and he recalls his father taking him to the ballpark in 1941. Tom is an award-winning storyteller who delights his audience throughout the Northeast with his stories that transcend regional borders, gender, even age differences. He has been designated touring artist for the Vermont Council on the Arts. Here are Tom's recollections.
Just like I've never left. You walk into that stadium, and you know that stadium looks just exactly as it did. When was that stadium built?
41.
41. Yeah. It was good it was built that year, wasn't it? Because following year, they wouldn't have put up the money for it because of the war.
That's probably right.
You couldn't have gotten bricks for it. All the bricklayers would be off training someplace. But I sat there waiting for George. George was off interviewing somebody, and I sat there and I was eating peanuts, which I don't really particularly like. But I was doing it for sentimental reasons, see, because my dad would buy peanuts there, and we'd sit in the grandstand, which we almost always did. I don't think we ever sat in the bleachers. We almost always sat in the grandstand, and I was sitting there eating peanuts out of a little bag. You know, I don't know. It probably cost me $1 a bag or something like that. In 1941, 42, they cost 10 cents. I know that. And I remember my dad wanting peanuts, which he liked and I didn't particularly like. So he kept trying to get the attention of the peanut vendor thing. And I mean the sounds in the stadium. When you walk up the steps along that brick facade, you know, you come in, you can't see anything because there's this brick at the back of the grandstand, but you can hear it, and that's just so enticing, you know. It's like the perfume of a woman, you know, coming to you before you actually see her, you know. You're just ready, and so you walk up those steps and you can hear and you can smell the popcorn and the hot dogs and everything, but the sounds would come to you going up. You know, you'd hear the snap of the bat, you know, and the thump of the ball into somebody's glove. They're practicing catching out there, and then you come up and you walk in, and everybody says the same thing. No matter who you talk about going into a stadium or seeing their first pro ball or their first night game, you know. Everybody says the same thing. The grass was so green, yeah, and the bases were so white, and it just, I mean, it was just like a piece of purity, you know, in a world that was all full of dirt and grit. And you come out here, and here's this pristine diamond, literally. So anyway, so my dad was trying to get the attention of this guy while people were hawking various other things, soft drinks, I suppose. But I do remember selling these programs, scorecards they call it.
Yeah.
Get your lucky number scorecard, and they had numbers on them. You probably remember that.
Oh, sure.
And so we'd buy them, and my dad would keep track of the game on this thing. He tried to teach me all those little lines and squiggles and everything. I didn't learn them well enough to remember it anyway. So he's trying to get this peanut vendor's attention, seeing the vendors busy doing other things. So I had a good whistle at that time. And that was before my mouth got all changed, you know, inside and changed around to us, or he passed it down the road more likely. And it came by me. I handed it to my father. My father opened it up, started eating, and I turned my attention back to the ball field. And then there were rustlings over here to my right. See, so I turned over and looked, and here's the vendor. He's out there, you know, he wants his dime, you know, so he can move on. See, And the people in the row are all going like this. See, they're all looking down our way. So I turned to my father, who's busy cracking peanuts and popping them in his mouth. I gave him a poke, and I motioned like this. He looked down. He said, "What?" Well, I said, "You know, the peanut guy, he wants his money." So my father said, "Well, pay him." I said, "I don't have any money." I don't know how old I was. I was a teenager, I guess. I said, "I don't have any money." "Those are your peanuts." Well, he says, "Who whistled?" Well, I said, "I whistled." Well, he says, "You're the one he sold the peanuts to then." He went on looking at the game, you know, popping things back in his mouth. And, of course, I was getting flushed in the face. You know how easy it is to embarrass your kids anyway. So, and the vendor was really frowning by this time, and the people were really looking at these cheapskates up the way, you know, and did this. So finally I said, "God, come on, he's going to get mad at us." So my father says, "Oh, all right." And he reached into his pocket, pulled out a dime, and we passed it on down the road, see. And nowadays I maintain that, see, that my father was teaching me then the elements of comedy.